I'm Lois Dixon Myers, and I'm here to talk about the price and the supply of U.S. oil. I'm very upset because a couple of days ago I was listening to the news, and President Obama's newly appointed Secretary of Energy and his cabinet, Dr. Chu, made the rash statement that he believed that the price of gasoline here in America should be the same as the price of gasoline in Europe, which in Great Britain is over $9, maybe $9.45 a gallon for gasoline there. That is ridiculous. That is undermining the whole U.S. economy because it's based on oil. Oil is king, whether you like it or not, and I hope someday we can get more of our energy on cleaner energy, but right now the fact is the whole basis of our economy is on oil and natural gas. I worked for an oil company, a small independent Texas producing oil company back in 1980, and I fought against the devastating windfall profits tax that President Carter tried and did push through Congress, which killed most of the small independent oil companies that drilled 80 to 90% of U.S. oil. The major oil companies drilled largely overseas, 80 to 90% overseas. So it was the small independent companies that really bore the brunt of this very high, devastating tax, to the point that by 1983 we were 85% dependent on OPEC or foreign oil, which we need to get off because of all the trouble and turmoil in the Middle East. We need to drill for our own oil here in America and become self-sustaining as a nation energy-wise once again. My charts that I printed out last year prove these statistics. If you'll look at this chart, you can see from the U.S. Department of Energy Information Administration, back in 1980, when the windfall tax was passed, right after that, there was a tremendous downturn in the U.S. oil supplies here in America. In 2012, there was a slight uptick, but it's not anywhere near as back up to the 1980 level that we need to be at. Excuse the improper English, but no preposition should go at the end of a sentence, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, this chart is from the Texas Railroad Commission, which the Texas Railroad Commission grants all of the drilling permits in Texas, so they have the statistics. And as you can see, in 1980 there was a downturn in the oil supplies in Texas. So the two charts coincide at about 1980 or thereafter. The downward turn, huge slump in U.S. and Texas oil supplies. Well, what happened? What happened to our economy as a result? That's when the mortgage crisis hit, the big banking crisis. People were here in Houston were beginning to lose their jobs right and left. It just pulled out the rug from our economy, and then it hit the rest of the nation as well. The major oil companies were able to survive the tax, the windfall profits tax, because they drilled mostly overseas, and you aren't taxed when you drill overseas by the American tax code. So they got off the hook that way. Well, what it did, this terrible, devastating tax, is it shifted the American investment capital overseas as well. It really devastated the whole U.S. economy that is dependent on oil. That is the basis for our whole economy. As I said, back in the mid-1980s, that's when our mortgage crisis started to happen. And then it affected manufacturing and housing and real estate and every other type of business. It's just come tumbling down gradually over the years. And when you remove your fundamental wealth, your real wealth, which is oil in the ground, and you look to Tinseltown or Wall Street, where you have this inflationary or this artificial type of economy with manipulation of stocks and so forth, that's not where your real wealth is. As a result, Bernanke has had to keep printing out worthless paper dollars so that our whole economy wouldn't go defunct. What most people in America don't realize is that the value of the US dollar is very closely tied to the price of a barrel of oil. When one is up, the other is down. So back in 1980, when the price of oil was down, relatively speaking, like $30 or $40 a barrel, the value of the US dollar was high. Today, the price of oil has shot up to well over $100 a barrel and rising, and the value of the US dollar has gone down. So they had to print more paper money to make up for this difference, or this is causing more rampant inflation. But the real risk of all of this that most people don't realize in America too is that the central banks around the world, which hold vast reserves of petrodollars or US dollars, because the oil in the world is traded in the US dollar, these central banks, it's been rumored, might want to dump all of these paper dollars or US dollars that are becoming more worthless in value. They don't want to be left holding the bag if the US dollar goes any lower. What's been happening is that other countries in the world have been beginning to buy and sell oil in their own currencies, or a basket full of other currencies, and bypassing the US dollar. And if that continues, and the central banks of the world, around the world, decide to dump all of these lowered valued US dollars, that is going to be devastating to the US economy. It's going to hit Wall Street, it will crash, and we will see a bigger depression in America than we ever saw in the late 20s and early 30s here in America. This is why I wanted to go to Congress in 2012 and shed the light to both sides of the aisle, both Democrats and Americans, to tell the American people the truth of the importance of the U.S. oil supplies in relation to the price of oil, and how critical that is to sustaining our U.S. economy. That is why we're in this horrible crunch that we're in. We've lost our wealth. We can't even support a military adequately. We're pulling back on that as well. And when that happens, as did happen in Rome, they couldn't economically keep up the troops that they had all over the world, the military bases they had all over the world. They had to pull them back, and they crumbled internally. They were overtaken. Rome fell. The economy fell. This is what I'm getting at, why I am so intent on getting the word out to the American people that this is critical, that we build back up our U.S. oil supplies here in America. I was the only woman candidate for one of the 4 new districts in Texas, number 36, which is in the heartland of the oil industry. It is the largest petrochemical refining complex in America, and the Port of Houston, where I worked for 18 years, and I was the only candidate who had worked for an independent or an oil-producing company. It's really a shame that I couldn't get a chance to go there and help everybody get a job back in America, because I believe that once our oil industry comes back, the basis of all our businesses in America, it would have helped all of our businesses to thrive again with the reduced energy costs. They could have begun to hire again. People in their homes, the energy costs to heat and cool their homes would have benefited. There would have been more savings in the bank. It'd be a snowballing effect to improve our economy. In the meantime, I found a wonderful company, Empower Network, that is something that everybody in America, whether they have a job or not, can jump on board with for just $25 a month for a basic monthly membership, which is selling products for 100% commission on teaching SEO secrets and strategies and blogging, viral blogging techniques to help you blog and get your products, your business, whatever ideas or business you have to sell out there, to become front and center, get on the first page of Google. And it's become viral around the world as well. But this is a way that you can take hold of your own personal finances, take charge of that regardless of our economy, until hopefully it really will turn around, hopefully soon. and you can make good